Hey, Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to yet another episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast. You guys have to know I'm always excited to hold the space for you to really build a bridge, really, between fulfillment and doing the work you love, because that's how you bring that meaningful life, right? Work takes up 80% of our lives. So, listen, this conversation today is needed and necessary. And some of you guys don't even know it's necessary, but grab a pen because you're going to know it's necessary after today as we start getting into this conversation. So, listen, today's conversation is what every executive overlooks and every leader needs who has ever said to themselves, I know I'm qualified, but why am I still being overlooked? See, here's the truth. In today's world, expertise alone is no longer enough. You can have the credentials, the experience, and the results and still remain invisible, especially in the rooms where opportunities, influence, and leadership decisions are made. See, my guest today helps leaders understand how to stop being the best kept secret by learning how to fully leverage LinkedIn to build thought leadership, executive presence, and authority. Her name is Adrienne Simpson. Now, listen, Adrienne is a keynote speaker. She's a TEDx speaker. She's a CEO of the LinkedIn Pros, where she has spent over a decade helping executives, corporate teams, and government leaders elevate their visibility and strategically, if I can get the word out, strategically position themselves for greater influence and opportunities. She's trained leaders inside Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, and professional organizations across the country, teaching them how to intentionally build authority, strengthen executive presence, and show up where decisions get made. How many of y'all need that? Here's what I know, and here's what Adrienne teaches. Visibility is not a personality trait, it's a leadership skill. And the leaders who learn this skill learn how to communicate their value clearly and consistency. So they don't just get noticed, they get chosen. So if you've ever struggled with showing up confidently online, or if you know your expertise deserves greater visibility, or if you're ready to learn how to leverage LinkedIn as a tool to build your influence, credibility, and thought leadership, then grab your pen and help me welcome Miss Adrienne to the show. Hey, girl.
Hey there. I was like, wow, she sounds awesome. Who's she talking about?
listen. So Adrienne and I are part of another organization, and we were on working with the well, one of my first guests this season. Let me out myself. Move In Mafia. You guys saw TJ earlier in the
Yeah.
season, and so we were on helping the kids, Move In Mafia kids, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute, TJ. I need her on my podcast, right? Because she was going in, and I started looking her up, and
Lovingly.
what you do is phenomenal. So let's talk about, you know, let's just go right in. What do you think is the biggest challenge or biggest mistake you see executives make on LinkedIn?
Ooh, let's just dig right into it. First of all, thank you for just having me on your show. I absolutely love what you're doing for your audience, and I just appreciate being able to be here and share. First of all, second of all, friend, um, these LinkedIn powerful streets are the biggest space that we are not taking advantage of, and we need to be there. And so people miss out, executives miss out because for a number of reasons that we'll get into, but primarily because people are really so focused, heads down on doing their work. They're doing a great job, which is a good thing. But we put on the back burner the visibility aspect and the ability, the need to elevate the work that we're doing to tell folks about it. And so that's a big mistake that we're already making up front.
And here's the thing that I know, y'all. So I'm out myself. I'm so over social media. I'm being honest, right? If I never ever had to do another post, however, that's why I think this LinkedIn conversation is different because this is not about posting you doing your hair and nerve because I've done that, or posting that you doing what you do on Saturday because nerve I've done that too, right? So it's beyond that, and I think so many people
Mhm.
confuse Facebook, Instagram with LinkedIn. Can you kind of give, if you're comfortable, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask this, the difference so people can understand the difference in leveraging LinkedIn compared to the other platforms?
Sure. And I get this question a lot because people who are comfortable on other platforms feel like this ick about LinkedIn and they're not really quite sure why. But the difference really is to me, Facebook is more like these are your old friends, right? High school classmates, college classmates, people you work with, maybe, right? If you're comfortable connecting with them on social media. These are people you've built relationships with. And really outside of the things that you have in common that you know about, there's nothing else. You talk, you scroll, you read, you might get a little bit of education. Now people are creating these super long posts on Facebook that I get caught up in, like these fake stories. But for spending time and communicating with folks that you know, right? Instagram, for example, I throw this in the mix. Instagram is graphics, pictures, folks trying to catch up, do videos, popular dances, more trendy. LinkedIn is really the space now where you exert your authority, your leadership authority. Now, plenty of people don't feel like they have authority, friend. That's the biggest mistake. That's the biggest problem right there. Adrian, what do I know? Who am I? The same group of young ladies that we were speaking of, I had a great conversation with them yesterday. And I'm like, I don't care how old you are, who you are, what work you do, what you're studying. Everyone is an expert in something. Everyone has a zone of genius. And so LinkedIn is for that. LinkedIn is for you to plant your stake in the ground and say, you know what? I know this thing and I want to share more about this thing. I'm an excellent roller skater. I can roller skate up and down, not me, but I can, I can roller skate all over, the rink. I can show you backwards, forwards, all those things. If you're the expert in that, friends, share that, because believe it or not, there's a community for that.
Right.
And it could be on LinkedIn. So that's what I see the difference is among those three.
Right. And so, when you think about it, y'all, and I'm going totally off script. So I know Adrian's probably like, girl, you didn't tell me you're going to ask me that. So listen, the other thing that I think is interesting, I'm out my own self because I didn't really get how to leverage LinkedIn. So I started looking for a job. Let me just be transparent, all the way transparent. Right. And then I started realizing, oh, there's jobs posted on LinkedIn. Oh, if I
Ooh.
start replying to people who work at the jobs that I want to get now, but mind you, I'm not giving y'all strategy. You need strategy, call Adrian for that. But I'm going to tell you the things that I began to learn that I wasn't leveraging, and people started inboxing me.
Yes.
I'm like,
oh, yes.
thinking to myself, how you find me? It's because I'm now leveraging my LinkedIn and showing my authority, right?
That's right. That's right.
So
People have conversations there for sure.
yeah, I was going to ask you, how can LinkedIn become an extension of someone's kind of leadership brand? Like share a little bit without giving too much. And the reason I'm saying that, y'all, is some of you guys are going to say this. Oh, I heard that podcast and now I know what to do. She can only give you so much in 30 minutes. There's no way, she's been doing this for years. In 30 minutes, she's going to give you everything.
Yeah.
So in the show notes, I'm going to click because some of you guys need a brand rehaul, a brand edit, a whole, and we'll talk about that then, how she can help you. But just know she's going to give you tidbit, but this is called an appetizer and not the meal. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's what I'll say in terms of showing up as the authority, right? As a leader. Number one, you got to embrace that for yourself. You have to believe that you are a leader. I meet a lot of people who either don't feel like that, or maybe they have some corporate trauma. Like, even if you're not working the corporate anymore, I meet plenty of leaders and plenty of folks who own businesses and who are, speakers and all that. And they don't want to position their brands on LinkedIn because they don't want anybody that they work with from 10, 15 years ago to see what they're doing, what they're up to. And I'm like, you don't let somebody that you don't even talk to anymore prevent you from getting to your bag? Never. Right? And so to position yourself as a leader, as a thought leader in particular, your perspective is important. People ask me all the time, Adrian, does it matter? Is it enough that I see an article, I see some information, and I'm an expert in the field, but I just repost it? And I said, well, friend, what did you add to it? What did you think about that? Right? So if we see a repost and you don't add anything to it, then no, you just forwarding on somebody else's thoughts. LinkedIn is a perfect place for you to say, I know this about this. I am the expert, and I'm going to share with you. Because believe it or not, people spend time, leaders, stakeholders, folks who, pay for services, they move the needle, right? Big budgets. They spend time on LinkedIn looking for experts who do the thing that you do, but they can't find you because you're not visible.
So good, so good. Right.
You
Right.
want to be
I don't know
shining.
how. And what's interesting is people, I think, sometimes rely on their resume, which is great. But if people don't know your resume,
listen, only folks on your resume are the people that you've interviewed with, maybe even your current boss, and probably not because you didn't update it. Right? They just came in and you all started working together. And so the resumes are so they're important. Again, when you're having that conversation about moving to the next level and all that, but LinkedIn is not an online resume. And it might have been that at one point, so we're not saying that's not how it started, but I promise y'all that is not how it is today. It is the perfect place, again, for you to tell a story, deliver a narrative about who you are and what you're going to do as the expert, as a leader in this thing. And when I say expert and leader, like, I don't mean that you're a manager or a director or a vice president. Friend, you could be an individual contributor and still be a leader on your job. or still be a leader in position and need that, because now the market is so competitive. Every single day, I wake up and see notices about not even hundred thousands, tens of thousands of people getting laid off at one time, one organization. And so that's just more people getting dumped into the pool of unemployment.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if you're not ready to swim, you're going to sink. There has to be some differentiator between you and now the thousands of people who are out there looking and vying for jobs. And we all know that, employers and companies are slower to move and slower to, to hire people for new roles. I've got stories, clients who are interviewing 4, 5, 6 times, 8 times, and sometimes not even getting the job then.
Yeah.
So they've made it a lot more challenging. The goalpost has moved, but I promise you that leveraging LinkedIn and the power that it has, and positioning yourself as that leader, as that thought leader, as that expert, by sharing your perspective and even communicating with some folks who can help you move your needle and help you to get more exposure, is going to be key for you.
So good. So let's stop for the people that are saying, "What the heck is a thought leader?" And maybe you guys aren't saying that, but you having the question, or
That's right.
expert. How would you define? Because really, I think they're in and of the same. So how would you define?
Mm. Ooh, I might say differently.
Okay, go ahead. Please do, girl. School
Well,
me. Go ahead.
so when I think about a thought leader, I think about somebody who's written a book about the thing, right? They've written a
Mm,
book. Maybe they have a podcast, friend. They've got a show. They've done white papers and case studies. They're able to stand on stage. They're a speaker, right, for that particular thing. They're able to stand on stage, deliver a talk for 30, 40, hour and a half on one particular subject, field questions, answer those, and they continue to study and get deeper in that subject. To me, that's
mm,
a thought leader. They're a
mm.
talking head. They might do television interviews, podcast interviews again, but they are the expert in that space and they're sharing their perspective. Okay, first. But you can be an expert in stuff and nobody knows it. I met a young lady once. I was doing some coaching in the organization, and we just were talking and about differentiators and again positioning and the things that you share on your LinkedIn profile to make you stand out. And she said, "Well, yeah, I have 6 patents." That's what she said. I have
Okay.
6 patents. Not only does she have 6 patents, but as an African American woman, that puts her in a completely different class. Meaning, there's only a small percentage of people, period, who have patents. Number one,
Right.
who hold them by themselves and not with an organization. Number two, and number three, that are African American and just on and on and on. And so for her, but she works with someone in leadership who is jealous. That's my take,
Mm,
right? She didn't say that, but she said he's always diminishing the word. She got 6 patents, friend. She could walk out
mm.
that door right now and command anything. But she has work, and that's what we do: heads down, working and getting those internal accolades, but
Yeah.
not lifting your head up enough to be rewarded and to be regarded outside of it.
So
So a lot
good.
of us have worked heads down. You are
Mm,
the expert, friend, at your job. You know how I know? Because they don't want you to leave.
right.
And I have a very good friend of mine. We spoke last week, and she was telling me her personal story where she retired from an organization, right, government organization, went to work for a city organization, but she had 30 years of experience behind her and went to work for the city because she was ready for a change of pace and all of that. And after being there for a year or so, she told her manager, "You know what? I think I want to move to this director role. I see it's open." He said, "Oh, why would you want to do that? You don't want to do that. You're not ready." 30 some years experience. Yes, I'm more than ready,
Right.
right? Told her she wasn't ready. Long story short, friend, she interviewed for it because she was ready, but he had gone behind her back and told the committee, the selection committee, "You know what? No, she's not ready.
Mm,
And I don't recommend her leaving." Sabotage.
mm.
Sabotage.
Well,
We all
somebody
have
obviously
said,
must have thought she did good because they obviously told her he did that. So
told
somebody
her.
didn't agree. Mhm.
Told her. And friend, before I talked to her, she was kind of okay. She didn't even realize that there was that level of sabotage. She was just told, "Hey, it was really close. It was neck and neck." And then subsequently later on, she found out, no, he actually told them that she wasn't ready.
Mm,
And so she was so calm about it, friend.
mm.
And here's what I want to tell your audience. Um, the only person that's damaged by you staying invisible and being quiet, and y'all love to say introverted and not wanting to share your expertise, is you and the person that's coming behind you that's looking at you that you're supposed to help.
Mm,
but they don't achieve their goal and vision and their purpose because you won't exhibit yours. There's somebody wait. Like I always said, the experience, the thing, even the challenges that we go through, they're not for us. They
right.
feel like it. They're not for us. They're for the person that's behind you, that's looking at you as an example, that's waiting for you to raise your hand and say, you know what, I am the expert in this, and let me show you. I'm going to go on these stages. I'm going to speak. I'm going to expose this to other people.
So good.
I, I've been on LinkedIn for a really long time, and I got here because my stories, I've been laid off 4 different times working in corporate America,
Hmm.
and each time I leveraged this platform to get back to work for relationships, for a warm handshake that I talk about, and for looking for roles. But I knew after my second layoff that I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me leveraging this platform or even talking about it. By layoff number 4, I knew I had to teach it to other people so that they
Hmm.
could get the benefit too.
That's so good. That's so good. And I love everything you said. And thank you. That thought leadership, that's a whole nother perspective. So I'm glad you separated it. And here's the thing I want those of you that are still stuck on, I'm not an expert. Like you said, your friend didn't
Mm.
realize, right? So I'm gonna give you some homework. I want you to do a couple things. One, when your boss keeps asking you to do certain things, putting you on special projects, having you, the reason why he or she keeps doing it is they see your gift and you don't.
That's right.
If it ends up being in the same lane, I want you to take note of that because that is your giftedness. We often overlook it because, I don't know about y'all, but I say things like, oh, that's easy. Yeah, it's easy for you because
Easy for
that's what you're good
you.
at.
You done solve the Pythagorean theorem all over the
Girl.
place. You're like, "Oh, it's easy." That's because you're smart. That's because you know what you're doing.
And
You
that's your
figured out all the truths and
giftedness.
bugs.
And
It's your
that's your
gift.
lane of genius. So when that's your lane of genius, it comes second nature for you. And so we
Mhm.
overlook it because of that. So I want you to pay attention when you're working during the day and whatever you're doing, you're like feel like you're on fire, like it feels good, like I love this thing. That's because you're in your lane of genius. When you begin to
Mhm.
see where all those lines correlate, that is your expertise. So if I use myself for an example, Darren, it's not about me, but I'm using myself for an example for a reason. Listen, I work for a larger training and development company. And I remember we were working on content. This is a true story, y'all. And I know I was going to tell the story, but I'm not saying names, but we're working on content. They had hired me to be the director of the personal development division, but we're working on this big project. And the marketing director says, and we're stuck because we keep hiring people to write, to do the storytelling and writing it and developing the whole production and all the things. And we keep getting stuck because everybody we hire is horrible. And the,
Mm.
the marketing director says, why are we hiring people? Nicole can do that. Excuse me? Excuse me? Right? So then I looked at her. She said, Nicole, you do it all the time. When we're developing programs, you change what we're doing. She said, you do it automatically. You don't even think about it. She said, then you shift who should do what part. She said, you do it automatically. So when she said that to me, Adrian, and I'm sharing this for those of you that are stuck, I started thinking to
Mm.
myself when I was little, and I used to play. Now, mind you, this is me sitting with God and like really thinking about what she said because I was like, I do that really? What popped in my
Mhm.
mind was when I was little. One of my good girlfriends just got married from I've known since the kindergarten, second grade, something like that. But anyway, at her wedding, they were teasing me and they were like, Nicole, you remember how you used to tell us what role we were going to play? We were playing outside. We playing Batman and Robin. You're like, you going to be Robin and then you would set the stage and we're going to rob a bank. Who does that? But that's
The
how I
director.
think. Right. That's how I think. And so I'm sharing that
Mhm.
with you because I was overlooking it too until that moment in 2000, I think it was 12, that
Mhm.
Jennifer is her name, the marketing director of the company, said to me, girl, Nicole, what she didn't say to me, she said to the CEO, as if I wasn't sitting there, Nicole can do that. Excuse me? So from that moment forward, I began to realize who I was and stand in it. So I'm sharing
Mhm.
that with you because as Adrian is here, and yes, she can help you, but I want you to get, first of all, out of your way, those of you that are having this hard, I'm an expert conversation with yourself in your head. Yeah, we're going to alleviate that right now.
Mm, 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 mm.
So once they get past that, go ahead. What were you going to say, Adrian?
Well, I was just gonna say, to me, it's that other duties as assigned.
Mm,
Right? Other duties as a sign can get you hemmed up and really get you stuck because just like, Dr. Nicole just said, they saw it in her. She didn't even see it in herself. You didn't even realize you were doing it probably. They
mm-mm.
noticed every single time. And guess what? They're quick to say, oh, you can do it. And there's no discussion about additional pay. There's no
Hello.
discussion about additional compensation. They just assume that you're going to be excited to do it, friend. No, I do this for sport. I'm going to do what y'all pay me for and excel in that. But don't add extra other duties as assigned on me unless we have a conversation about that.
But here's the other thing too, because I said yes to that, then a big celebrity client came and
Mm,
he wanted to work on a whole program. And he had done the same thing, hired somebody, it wasn't working. So he hired my company. And my boss said, Nicole, you have to do it. Now, by the way, this was Steve Harvey. I can say this out loud because I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And so at first I was a little intimidated. I'm gonna be honest. And I was like, oh Lord Jesus, right? But the first meeting, when he told his story, Adrian, I went back to my hotel that room that night and I
mhm.
reworked his story. And he looked at me, he said, who is she? Because he didn't know how. And so my boss was like, I
Yeah,
told you you could do this. After that, no rap.
the
So
unicorn.
again, I want you to get clear on that. So anyway, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
That's it, just a unicorn. Like, for many of us, we have these special skills and talents that we've honed, through our experiences, through our knowledge, and they do shine in us. People see it all the time, right? When you
Yeah.
talked about directing, friends, so many stories about that. In my house, I call it leadershipy. We don't call it bossy anymore. We call it leadershipy, right? It's a lot of leadershipy in this house. But again, and if you happen to be blessed and no one tells you that you're too much or you're over the top or too loud or whatever, and they don't dampen your spirit, then you can walk in it. But if you're like many of us, myself included, where someone has told you because either they're jealous or they think you're too much or they don't know how to handle you, that, oh, you know what, just kind of dim your light a little bit. I had a manager tell me that, Adrian, you come across as the smartest person in the room and you don't allow your peers to catch up with you.
Not my
But
problem.
societally, they never let me, I'm over here living, friend. Over here living and doing my thing and working in these God-given gifts. And so the crazy part though is I try to bring people along. Like I'll try to, help and explain as much as I can. But also I want your audience to really understand too that at this point, y'all, we got to run this race.
Come
You
on.
got to run your own race because I promise you, they're putting weights on your ankles. They're trying to hold you back. They got you running in quicksand, and we still outrunning them.
Mm,
You better lift up your head and fly. And so there's
yeah.
time out for you to be invisible and shy and introverted and not wanting to talk and not clear about who you are and what you know. Because when you get clear about that and you're clear about how to move forward and what you need to do, sky is the limit.
As you're talking, I'm going all off tangent, off on topic, but as you were talking, it made me think
Mhm.
of people like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth
Mm,
and, all the black women that came before us. If they were not, first of all, they were the first. Let's be clear. I'm sure
absolutely.
people are telling us, like I'm sure Harriet, people were like, Nicole, Harriet, are you crazy? Girl, you gonna die, right?
You did it right.
But she was clear. She knew what her lane of genius was. She probably wouldn't have said it like that, right?
Mhm.
But she was clear and uncompromising. And I think for us, when you begin to look at LinkedIn, it's not about bragging. I want you to be clear. You're not bragging. You're clear and uncompromising about who you are and the gifts that you bring to any company that you get to work in.
Mhm. Well, we're taught, so when you said, it's not bragging, I was like, "Ooh," because really we are literally, primarily one generation removed from being told, "Stay invisible," because being visible could have gotten you killed,
Yeah.
depending on where you were, right? Could have gotten you hurt. And so for those of us whose, parents, parental figures, guardians, loved ones who meant well for us, told us just to be quiet, let the work speak for itself. You're going to do
Yeah.
fine. You're going to progress. They're going to see you. They're going to know that you do great work, and they're going to promote you accordingly. Not necessarily, because the thing is, it's not the promotion, the reward is not always given to the person who has the best work or that does the best job or the best idea. Sometimes it is given to the most visible person, the one that they see, the one they know. It's the one they know. It's the one that always speaks to them, always
Hmm.
has conversation while you shine away because you don't want to be bothered with the boss this morning or Friday. You don't want to go by his desk because he's going to wind up talking to you. Guess who's always over there? And when they talk about who's done what, they don't even know what you're doing
Hmm.
because you're so insulated in your space that they go with who they know.
Right.
More visibility, more awareness, more more leverage around what you're doing gets you where you want to go.
Mm. So good. So we have 5 minutes left. So I want to just
Ooh.
ask, and we touched on this, but I want to just ask this question, and then I want you to, after you answer it, however you want to leave us. And by the way, her link is going to be in the bio because half of y'all, probably 80% of y'all, need her, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm not getting anything out of it other than
Mm,
helping a sister in her lane of genius continue to blow up. So listen, What advice would you give to women, especially both mid-career and executive women? Because I have both that
Mhm.
listen to this show, and they are qualified, but they still feel like or they're still not owning their expertise.
Mhm.
What advice would you give them?
Oh, that's a good one, and that's a big one. I'm gonna do my best not to offend, but I gotta offend a little bit. The advice I would give mid-career and executive women leaders who are not necessarily owning their space is that there is an invisibility tax that you're already paying because you're not raising your hand to say, I'm the expert that you need. I know this backwards and forwards. There's a tax and it compounds, right? It not only does it increase and grow, but it compounds every time you don't move forward. So for example, when you interview for a role and you get the job and you don't negotiate on salary,
Hmm.
you take what's offered and you're so grateful and so thankful, as we should be, right? But
Mm-hmm.
when you don't negotiate, then you're already starting behind the eight ball because only 24% of people that are, especially Black people, who are interviewing for roles negotiate. 76% don't negotiate at all. They just take what's given to them.
Mm.
And so fast forward, right? Quick numbers. Let's say you don't negotiate and you could have gotten 10,000 more for that opportunity. Well,
Mm-hmm.
people are at a role at a job, an average of 4.6 years. Let's round up to 5. So 10,000 times 5 is 50,000.
Hmm.
You potentially lost out on $50,000 of income and revenue because you didn't negotiate. Couple that with the bonuses that would be attributed, right? The percentage of your salary, bonuses, benefits, all of that. So you're losing money. And so what I'm going to tell you is right now is advocate for yourself. Speak up for yourself. Research, research. Know the answers to the questions before they ask. Prepare yourself. And if you got a challenge with speaking up, interviewing, advocating, all of that, then I'm going to tell you what a good friend of mine said to me. Adrian, I'm not the loudest person, the sharpest person, right? The most confident person. But what he said is, I put on the armor, I put on the persona of somebody else. When I don't feel like I have enough, I put on somebody else's persona while I need to, and then I get it done. Because we're already behind the eight ball. We're already missing out. We talk about the disparities between, men and women and African American folks and Caucasian folks and all of that in terms of salaries and benefits and jobs. There are some things that we can do about it. It starts with you. You want to make sure that you take control and you land this plane like you need to. I wish I will.
Whew, so good, so good. Oh my God, the invisibility tax, girl. I had to like put myself on mute because I was having my own little moment, of little scream moment over here. So with that, Adrian, thank you for coming on, for sharing insight. And again, those of you that know you need help with growing your LinkedIn, to increasing your visibility, to become the expert so people can see the value that you bring, in the show notes, click set up. What is it? An introductory call they get to have with you to see if you're a good fit, and then
For
you can
sure.
and then go from there. But I appreciate you, girl. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
So with that, y'all, that's the end of this episode. Listen, in the middle of Adrian sharing, if you heard the buzzing in the background, I have work being done on my house. Why would the people come now? So there they go buzzing. So with that said, you guys know at the end of every episode, first of all, I got to say the invisibility tax you are paying. I want you to just sit with that for a minute. What invisibility tax are you paying? And it's time to get that right. So I'm going to encourage you, no matter what it is, whether it's Adrian or some other LinkedIn pro, which there ain't many. I'm going to encourage you to get your LinkedIn together so you can stand in the lane that God created you to dwell in. All right. So with that, number one, at the end of every episode, I ask you to share the value, share your takeaway, share what you're going to implement, share where you're going to move forward. Maybe even share how she stepped on your toes, because that's a good thing. Number two, please share this episode because other people in your network need this insight just as much as you do. And number three, if you haven't already, please subscribe. All right. So with that said, thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time for our next episode. Bye, y'all.